Here we go. Motivation to talk today. My words aren't working yet. We just got a couple seconds before the 12:30 mark, which is when we go live every single Thursday. My name is Lori Mage. I'm a life and leadership coach, and the purpose behind these videos each and every single week is to inspire and support you in your journey, to encourage you and give you some practical tools and tips to help you live and lead your most authentic, most awesome, kick-ass life. I want to first and foremost thank you for joining me today. I know you've got choice to go spend time wherever you spend it for your lunches, and I really appreciate you being here today. As I mentioned before, the intention in these videos is to truly serve and support you, and that's my goal today as well. And today's message, it's a personal one for me because it's something that I'm working on in my own life to help me kind of close the gap from where I am to where I want to be. And recently, when I've been working with one-on-one and group clients, this has been coming up more and more and more. And when you look globally at some of the challenges that we're facing all across the world and inside organizations, this theme, this gap keeps coming up more and more and more and more. So today is more of a motivational talk, if you will, maybe a figurative, is that the word? A figurative kind of kick in the pants a little bit for you and for me as I share this idea today. As always, we start at 12:30. We're going to wrap up at 1 o'clock today. And so if you don't already have your notebook, grab your notebook, grab a pen. We've got some ideas to share today, again, to help you live and lead your most authentic, most awesome, kick-ass life. Also, when you're listening today, if you could do me a great big favor, is that when you hear something that truly like resonates with you, that you can kind of feel that goosebump moment, or maybe something just like, oh, that's a cool idea, that's a really good reminder. If you could just let me know by giving either a thumbs up or a heart, that would do me a great big favor to help. What happens is, like, Facebook has these algorithms, and when people actually like stuff, it makes the video get played more. So it'll help me reach more people with these messages. So when you do that, really appreciate it. If you get that, go ahead and give me a thumbs up or a heart right now, just to let me know, like, yeah, I get it. I can help out with that. And if you find value in these, please consider joining me every Thursday at 12:30 and maybe share it with some people. That would be awesome. So without further ado, let's get to today's topic. And again, motivational talk. A little kick in the pants here. Dropped my one major note card. Little kick in the pants here. So the main idea today is bossing up. The main idea today is bossing up. Now, don't go yet. Don't be like, I already got that. Just hang on a second. Here's the idea: is that if we really, really want to improve our lives, if we want to improve our relationships, if we want to improve the world, if we want to improve our teams, our businesses, our organizations, if we want to lose weight, if we want to make more money, if we want to have careers that we're actually excited to get up and go to every single day, we have to stop procrastinating. We have to stop letting ourselves off the hook. We have to stop numbing ourselves out, avoiding looking at ourselves in the mirror. We have to stop BSing ourselves, right? We have to stop lying to ourselves that, oh, I'll get to it someday. Oh, it's okay to, take a little time off today. It's okay to go easy right now. And we need to stop procrastinating on that if we truly want to actualize our potential. And if we truly want to improve our lives, we have to stop BSing ourselves and waiting for someone to come and rescue us, waiting for someone to come and save us, or looking for the next book or the next TED Talk that's going to give you the answer that you think's going to help you lose the weight you got to lose, that you want to lose, that you're capable of losing. Like, some of you that have struggled with weight, this is something that's very, very close to me because it's a challenge of mine since I was tiny of struggling with weight. And I know for a fact, when I'm at that weight where I optimally feel good about myself, it's not about like six-pack abs. It's about how I feel in my own body. Like, I'm just proud to be in my body, right? And I can't blame my partner for anything that she might buy and bring home in the house. I can't blame my partner for choosing what she wants to eat. At the end of the day, it's up to me. I have to stop numbing myself out, facing the hard truth, procrastinating, waiting for someone else to come rescue me, waiting for someone else to get their shit together in order for me to get my shit together. It's not my boss's fault if I'm not happy at work. It helps if I have a boss that creates the conditions for me to flourish at work, but it's not ultimately their fault. There's this quote that I read about from Joseph Campbell in the book The Power of Myth. And he tells us, Freud tells us to blame our parents for all of the shortcomings in our life. Marx tells us to blame the upper class of our society for all of the shortcomings in our lives. But the only one to blame is oneself. The only one to blame is oneself. And that's the talk today that we're facing is like, stop BSing yourself. If you're not happy in your marriage, it's up to you to do something about it. That doesn't mean go get a divorce. If you're not happy in your career, it's up to you to do something about it. It's not your boss's fault. It's not the organization's fault. It's you're to blame. As Joseph Campbell says, you're the blame. And I've been reading about these books and about these ideas for the last 20 years. And none of that shit matters if I don't do this one thing, which is to take 100% responsibility for my life. 100% responsibility for my well-being, my health. It would be helpful if the guidelines for eating actually helped us feel good instead of what they promote in the guidelines for eating nutritious food. It'd be helpful if corporations weren't able to add tons of sugar and bad oils into all of our foods that we're eating. That would be helpful. At the end of the day, it's my responsibility to make sure I'm getting nutritious food for myself. It's up to me. It's not up to them. It's up to me. I have to take 100% responsibility. It's not the business. It's not the other people, right? So when we think about taking 100% responsibility for ourselves, really think about that. When you think about the areas of your life you'd like to improve, are you taking 100% responsibility for it? I'm shocked with myself of how often I go to blaming others. How often I do, rather than do the hard thing for 20 minutes with a quick workout, rather than go do that and suffer potentially for 20 minutes and then reap a huge benefit afterwards, rather than go do that, I'll numb out. I'll go watch TV, or I'll, worse, go eat something to avoid going to do it. And it's nobody's to blame except me. And there's a bigger responsibility here too that I want to touch on, and I hope this is part of the motivational kind of kick in the pants, is that who you become, the people who are watching this right now, who you become, I'm dedicated to doing this every single Thursday. Who you become has everything to do with who I become. Who my partner becomes has everything to do with who I become. That's taking responsibility for improving the betterment of the planet. Is that I can't control you, I can't control my partner, but the more and more I take responsibility for my health, for my knowledge, for my skills, for my ability, my discipline to show up and do these things, the more I take responsibility for what's in my control, like that, like getting a great night of sleep last night so I could try to show up today and be able to communicate for you. Like, you benefit from that. I don't control what you do with it, but it's my responsibility to do what I can to be the best I can be at this job that I've given myself. I didn't wait for somebody to give me this job. I just put my flag out in the ground and said, on Thursdays, I'm going to start showing up. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to talk about. There's a part of me that's like, who the hell are you? What do you have to offer? Like, there's a bunch of fear involved, all the doubt showing up, that type of thing. But I'm going to give myself a purpose. I'm going to give myself a purpose, and I'm going to decide to show up. And if people want to show up, awesome. And the better I get at this, the more responsibility I take for it. Not Facebook's algorithm, not how someone else is doing it, but how I'm doing it. What I'm doing to attract people to be able to hear these things. That's going to make all the difference in the world, and it's going to make the world a better place. And I get to feel good because I'm proud about how I showed up and what I'm up to. So if we truly want to lose weight, improve our lives, improve our income, improve our finances, improve our careers, improve our marriages, improve the planet, improve the fact that a lot of people on the planet don't have water, a lot of people on the planet don't have good quality food, that we want to eradicate COVID, get the truth out about COVID. If we want any of those things to happen, it's up to you and it's up to me to take 100% responsibility for what? For what's in our control. It's not my responsibility to get you to take any action. It's not my responsibility to have my neighbor take any particular action. What my responsibility is, what I'm talking about here, is taking responsibility for who I am and how I'm showing up. And part of that responsibility, and the bigger truth here, is that the work I do and when I work with clients is to help people live authentically, to express themselves honestly, authentically, more and more consistently. And this is the greatest responsibility and the greatest privilege of all, is to be able to express yourself authentically. Like, there's a responsibility to take care of yourself as a human being, eating, moving, sleeping, to help you show up the best version of yourself. There's that responsibility. And there's also a responsibility to explore your inner dynamics, your inner truth, and to consider what dreams are inside of your heart. Because those dreams were implanted in your spirit, in your soul, from something bigger than us. And the dreams that are planted in me are different than the dreams that are planted in you. And we have a responsibility to explore that, to discover that, and to express that more and more and more consistently. We wouldn't have people doing great work like Elon Musk exploring the galaxy. I don't have an interest in that, but it's something worthwhile. It's a goal that came from his heart, from his authenticity. And a lot of people have ridiculed him for that. He could easily go back to living a normal life and play it safe. He could blame everybody else for him not being able to do what he wanted to do. He couldn't get government backing. He had to do private. He's got astronauts criticizing him for what he does, and he looks up to them as heroes. His heroes are criticizing him. It'd be really easy for him to blame and not follow his truth. And you have a truth inside of you that wants to be expressed. It could be to write a book. It could be to do music. It could be to start your own business. It could be to be the best parent you can be. It could be to put it in the chat box below, like put it in the comments below. What inside of you is wanting to be expressed? And if you don't know, put that in the comments below too. If you don't know, that's perfectly a great place to be, because we're waking up to what is inside of you that wants to be expressed. My point today is that you have a responsibility. If you truly want to live a great life and feel good about how you're showing up and who you are, you have to take 100% responsibility for your life, for your emotions, for your personal well-being, for your career, for your finances, for anything and everything that's in your circle of influence. Whatever you desire in your life, it's up to you to make it happen. And the thing is, you can do it. You can absolutely freaking do it. Like, when you think about people on the planet who have done extraordinary things, they come often from humble backgrounds. I mean, Oprah, probably everybody here knows of Oprah, have heard about Oprah. And some of you may have heard this before, but it's worth talking about again. Like, she was passed around and lived with her grandma a lot, and they were in poverty. And she was molested by an uncle. She was pregnant at 12. She was in juvenile courts at like 13. Like, this is not the beginning of somebody who's going to go off. And, when we think about people who go off and do amazing things, that's not a great way to start life, And yet, she didn't numb herself out. She didn't procrastinate. She took her life into her own hands. She took responsibility for her career and the impact that she wanted to have. She knew herself well enough to not get married, to not have kids, she knew her truth. And even with criticism as a Black woman, doing newscasting at that particular time, nobody else was doing that. And the names that she was probably called, like, she took 100% responsibility, and look how the world benefits from her following her ambition, following her truth. She's an example of what's possible for us, of a combination of the spiritualness of bringing light and love to the world and curiosity to the world, and also enjoying the fact that you're human, you're here, you get to taste, you get to touch, you get to create, you get to have financial abundance if that's what you want, if that's in your heart, if that's in your ambitions, if that's part of what you feel like you're here to do, you can do that. She's the blend of the spiritual and the physical world. And you're capable of that. Whatever background you came from, you're absolutely 100% capable of that. Jay-Z, I don't know if there's anybody who follows rap music, but he was turned down like 13 different times from companies he kept bringing his music to. And guess what he did? He started his own. He's like, fine, I'll go start my own. No excuses, no procrastination. The thing is when we start talking about our excuses, we tell people about it. Most people will just coddle us and they'll be like, yeah, that makes sense, man. If only, if only, if only. If you find yourself saying if only, that's time to step up. It's time to boss up. If only my partner didn't buy these things for the house. If only my boss would recognize me more. If only my husband would do this. If only my child would do that. Anytime you hear yourself saying that, that's the time. Flip the switch, start bossing up. It's your responsibility. And it doesn't mean to control them. It means control you. What do you want? We've talked about this in the past. What do you want? Are your behaviors helping you get it? What do you want? Are your behaviors helping you get it? You want to have a happy marriage? Is the way you're acting right now helping you do that? You want to have a great career? What skills do you have to develop to accomplish that? Where do you want to be in 3 and 5 years? You have to do the work. I recently heard somebody compare living a great life to playing video games. And it was like so perfect. It was this great analogy where they talked about there's 2 types of video games out there. There's like the linear video game, which is kind of like Mario Brothers for those of you who are kind of my age group, or like Donkey Kong or Pac-Man. It's like you start on the first map right at the beginning and you got to conquer it. And once you conquer it, you're done with that one. It's a linear path and you go on to the next one. And once you conquer that one, you move it aside. It's linear. You go to the next one. You conquer that and you go to the next one. Well, when you get through the whole game, it's not a whole lot of fun to go back and do it again because it's linear. You've already accomplished it. You've done it. And he says, then there's other types of video games that are more what he calls sandbox games. They're not linear. It's like playing in a sandbox. There's no one telling you what direction to go or what to build. And he said these types of video games are like Sims. Like you can go do what you want to do. You can go buy this thing. You can build this type of house. You can wear this type of clothes. You can have this type of like partner or relationship. There's games like that out there that aren't linear. Every time you play them, they're different. And he says that's the mature life. That's the conscious life. That's when we wake up, is that you and we have often been playing our lives like a linear path. I mean, that's how we're brought up, is a linear path. You go to kindergarten, and then you go to first grade, then you go to second grade, then you go to third grade, and you graduate, and you're out there, and you're like, okay, now what? Well, now you got to lead yourself. You got to decide. You're in the sandbox now. There's no linear path for this. Like You could go to a linear path, but a lot of you that are watching this right now, you've tried the linear path and you're not happy. That's part of the reason you're here right now, is that, yeah, I followed the path, I checked all the boxes, I did the things I was supposed to do, and I'm not feeling fulfilled or satisfied. It's because there's a huge sandbox out there waiting for you to explore, waiting for you to build in, waiting for you to decide what you want to build. What kind of castle do you want to build yourself? What kind of life do you want to have? Maybe you don't want to build a castle and stay in one spot the whole time. Maybe you want to travel around, and that's going to cause some really hard conversations maybe to have with your spouse or your kids or your family members who want you to stay close, but you want to go explore the world. That's part of bossing up. No one's to blame. And the thing is that when we settle and we accept that things are okay and I should like where I'm at, I'm very blessed, and you're blessed, I'm blessed. And yet there's something inside of you saying that you want more. And it's not a bad thing. So many of us, I think, are taught to not be selfish, to not be greedy, to not be so self-centered. But here's the thing, is that the world, your family members, the community around you, nobody benefits when you feel dimmed out, when you're not shining bright, when you're not living in your truth, when you're not following your most authentic dreams and goals. Nobody benefits from that. And that doesn't mean, and what it often means is the people around you may not understand it, but nobody benefits from you living a life less than you desire and less than you're capable of living. That's not a selfish act. It's actually your most important responsibility, your most important duty on the planet, your most noble cause is to be and become what you're capable of being. When you are the best version of yourself, especially if you're a friend of mine and you're watching this video, you're not going to become that greedy person. If anything, if you have more money, you're going to be more generous. I know that because you're in my sphere of friends. You're in my sphere of people. Like, you're not naturally greedy. That's part of the reason why you've kind of settled into where you're at, is that you don't want to look greedy or be greedy or needy. That's another one that gets in the way of us actualizing our potential, is feeling like, oh, if I ask for this from my partner or my spouse, it's going to come across as needy. No, you're a freaking human being. You do have needs. And now, because I've done the inner work to be able to understand what it is I want, how to skillfully articulate what it is that I want. That's another part of this challenge that we're in when it comes to bossing up. It's like, okay, Lori, I'm going to boss up. And then you start to communicate stuff and it comes out so messy. And the people around us are like, what the heck is this? Well, you've never done it before. You've never expressed boundaries before. You've never expressed your authentic needs and goals and desires before, because from a very young age, you probably weren't allowed to. So it comes out messy. It's a skill to be developed. It's a skill to be developed. So that'll often then cause us to shut down again. So I want to encourage you from today, as we begin to wrap up, is to stop betraying yourself. To stop betraying yourself, to stop abdicating and giving away your personal power, and start bossing up. Start bossing up. And that doesn't mean take responsibility for everything outside of you. That means take responsibility for what's yours to own. Your emotions, how you respond to life, your dreams, your goals, how you communicate those, the things that are within your control. You can't control what the company is going to do about COVID. You can control how you want to show up. And there are plenty of opportunities to work somewhere else. There are plenty of opportunities. You may have to get creative about it. But as long as you abdicate your power and you put it on someone else, you're not going to create or live the life that you really truly are here to live. A life that's deeply fulfilling, that feels authentic and true to you. A life that is in integrity with your values, your visions of what you want to see in the world. So I want to encourage you to be thinking about, where in my life do I need to take a little more responsibility? Where in my life do I need to take a little more responsibility? Where in my life have I been numbing out? Where in my life have I been avoiding looking in the mirror and really acknowledging my life changed 2.5, 3 years ago when I started saying, Laura, you're lazy. You're being lazy. And a lot of people would say, you shouldn't talk to yourself that way. But I needed to tell myself the truth. I needed to stop BSing. And there's nothing like bad about that. It's a fact. I wasn't doing what I could be doing to improve my life, my fitness, my finances. I wasn't doing those things. I was being lazy. Subconsciously, I was waiting for someone else to come save me. I wasn't bossing up. I wasn't taking responsibility for my life, for my well-being. I'd love, like, if you're familiar, when I think about this idea of bossing up, it's like taking, if you know who David Goggins is, he's like a no-nonsense military Navy SEAL guy. You could also put kind of Jocko Willings in that category. You could put Tim Grover, the guy who wrote Relentless and was a mental coach for Michael Jordan. You take those guys, kind of that masculine, hard energy, and you bring that into your life, along with Mr. Rogers, along with Rumi, along with Gandhi, right? You merge them. It's not about being harsh and critical with yourself, but it is about being honest as fuck with yourself. Looking in the mirror and going, yeah, I'm not taking responsibility there. Yeah, I could do a little more there. I am being lazy. Yeah, oh, this is me. An example of this week is Tuesday night. Got a message from Papa Murphy's, like, come get pizza, $12 Tuesday night. And there was a part of me that really wanted that pizza. And there's another part of me that was like, no, I have a responsibility to myself, to my family, to my colleagues, to my clients, to my group coaching people. I have a responsibility to boss up, to not fall into that, and to eat the food we had prepared earlier in the week for that. To not eat based on feelings, to actually eat based on my values, my virtues, where I want to go with my life, the impact I want to make in the world. That's bossing up. That's taking 100% responsibility. Now, that doesn't mean I'm perfect. That doesn't mean last night I didn't overindulge in something. I did. I did not boss up. And that's the honest truth, is that the path we're on, it's like 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. Just don't stop. Don't stop. I'm way better off where I am now than I was 3 years ago, when I finally admitted, Lori, you're being lazy. Lori, you're abdicating your power. It's time to step up. It's time to own. Where do you want to be? Not where someone else wants to be. Where do you want to be in your life? And to let go of the guilt and the shame that you might hold around your ambitions. Let go of that feeling of like, if I go do this stuff, people are going to think I'm selfish, I'm greedy. If I talk about stuff like this on Facebook, they're going to think I'm arrogant, right? So I had to overcome those. I had to let go of those stories I was telling myself. And I'm still working on that, even getting ready for this conversation today. So as we wrap up, as we go across the next 7 days, we'll be back again on Thursday next week from 12:30 to 1 again. I hope you can join me. But between now and then, it's one thing to look at like all the Facebook motivational images and to see these cool quotes and like them and love them. But I want to encourage you to the ones that you like and you love, like pause and really let whatever those quotes are sink into you and then put them into action. Whatever you got out of today's motivational talk, like put it into action. Right when you stop this video, like write down 1 or 2 things that you can do within the next 24 hours to demonstrate you bossing up, you taking ownership of your life. You are meant to shine bright. You are meant to realize your most authentic dreams and goals. That's why you're on the planet, is to evolve spiritually and to enjoy life physically in the physical world, to eat, move, sleep, touch. Like, there's so much beauty in the world right now, really, when you look for it. So, anyways, that's it for today's little motivational talk. If you got questions or comments, leave them below. I will stick around for a couple minutes. For those of you who got a jam, it's 1 minute to 1. So I know you got to get back to work, some of you. If you've got questions, I'll stick around just for a second and check the comments. Much love. Thanks for joining me today. Join me back next week. We'll do some more key tips, tools, and ideas to help you live and lead your most authentic, most awesome, kick-ass life. Have fun bossing up this week and stop betraying yourself. The world needs you to shine bright. The world needs you to be happy. The world needs you to be healthy. And the only one that can do that is you. You got to do it for yourself. Boss up.